Hey, it's Mirna from Happiness Academy. Welcome to the Happiness Academy podcast, a place where you can discover practical, simple, yet effective tools from the science of positive psychology. You're at the right place if you're looking to live a life of well-being and joy, staying resilient when facing any challenges, and incorporating a sense of meaning in things you do. Ready? Let's dive in. Have you read an amazing article on TEDx page about 7 types of rest? In the article, Sondra Dalton-Smith, the author, talks about how often we fail to recharge well because we are focusing on recharging the wrong aspect of energy for us in that very moment. Let me clarify that on an example. Let's say I'm emotionally tired right now, emotionally kind of drained and exhausted. And I don't recognize that I need emotional type of rest. So instead, I focus on resting physically. I maybe sleep in that day, maybe take it lighter in terms of workouts. In some way, I'm aiming to rest and recharge my body. And then once I wake up, or maybe once I move from that a bit of a slow and lazier moment, I recognize that I'm still tired. Or maybe I get tired soon. Really soon again. Now, today I want to share with you some practical tools and tips of how you can leverage this idea in practice and how you can use this concept of 7 types of rest to recharge really well. I will not talk deeper about each of the types of rest. I'll just name them for you quickly, but do check out the article if you haven't. I'll link it in the description or in the comments. Because there are many new insights there as well. However, let me just quickly name them so we know what we are talking about. First type is physical. Second, mental. Third, sensory, creative, emotional, social, and spiritual. Don't worry, I'll repeat them a few times throughout this video so you keep remembering them. So the question is really, how do you know which one to recharge? How do you know which one to focus on? When tired, when we feel in need for rest and recharge, how do we know which way of recharge and which aspect of our energy, if we recharge it, will give us best results? That's what we are talking about in this video. So tip 1 out of 5 is to compare them. And compare how, where are you with energy in each of these aspects. And probably the easiest way of doing that is to go through each 7 of them. So physical, mental, sensory, creative, emotional, social, spiritual. And for each of them, scoring your energy level from 1 to 10. And this is not about perfect score. It's not about overthinking and staying with one for too long because you don't really know where you are. It's like quickly you go through them. You're like, okay, physically, how's my energy? 1 to 10. Mentally, how's my energy? 1 to 10. And just going through them, scoring them, and then seeing which of them scores low. Probably it makes sense to start from recharging those where you score the lowest, of course. However, what if you have many that are on the same level and these are the lowest one? That's where our tip number 2 comes in. And tip number 2 is about where do you start? Most often, it doesn't make sense to focus on recharging more than maybe 2 of them at the same time, simply because then there is a chance you won't recharge any of them with quality. Now, having that said, very often they're connected. And while we are recharging one, we are also recharging the other one. For example, light walk in nature will recharge our physical energy, but also creative, also emotional, also mental. So some actions work for many aspects. However, you do want to have a clear focus. Which one are you recharging? Choose the most effective method for that one. And if that influences other, that's cool as well. So how do you choose? First way of choice was to choose 2, as I said, that are the lowest score. But what if you don't have clarity there? Or what if you don't have a chance to recharge those specific one? For example, I don't know, your sensory ones is tired and you have a lot of meetings or a workshop or I don't know, gathering with some friends in the evening that you cannot cancel. Then you will have to focus a bit on others. Now, my recommendation would be to try to look for the snowball effect there, meaning to ask which of these, if I would recharge it, would have the biggest positive impact on others as well. So which of these will somehow push others? Often physical is that one, but it can also be an emotional one or mental one, like when you take a moment of silence and then that affects also creative and sensory and social and so on. So asking that question, which of these, if I would recharge it, would have the best kind of snowball effect on all others? And another way in which you can choose, if you don't have an answer to the snowball effect, it can be a tough question. So another way you can choose is also, which of these is quick and easy for me to start with? Now, it is true that often quick and easy will be the one that's not so empty, so it seems like it's not the biggest impact. But one thing that we have to be aware of is that all these are quite connected. And if you recharge one, and you make it, a little bit better, it will have a ripple effect on others as well. So if you're not sure where to start from, it doesn't really matter. Start by naming one of them that's easy and quick. And then when you recharge that one, look into what's next. So the best way to start is from the lowest one or from the ones where you have a snowball effect. But if you don't have clarity on which those are, don't overthink, don't be a perfectionist in this. Instead, start with those that are quick and easy. Ready for tip number 3? Tip number 3 is to start building more mindfulness and self-awareness of how you feel in terms of your body, your emotion, your energy, and just build into your day more common moments when you check in for that. And by building that, you will be quicker in noticing where do you need rest, first, before your batteries in that aspect are too empty, and second, without too much thinking, but with kind of quick check-in. Now, one of the by far best exercises for this is the exercise we call self-checkin, in which one you say, hey, let me check in with myself. And you check in with your body first, briefly, just for a minute or two. How is my body doing right now? How do I feel in different parts of my body? Second, with your emotion, what do I feel right now? How does it connect to also what I notice in my body? What other feelings are present for me? Then 3, mental, which thoughts are recurrent in my head right now? Which thoughts are running through my head? What can I notice about my thinking? And 4, how is my energy doing right now? What's the level of my energy? How would I describe it in some keywords and so on? I will link in the description of this podcast or video, depends where you are watching. I will link also the 10 minutes video where I go through self-check-in much more thoroughly in case you want to check it out, in case you want to get really go and practice that exercise. Now, that exercise will give you great insights, and you can indeed choose to be checking in with just one of the 4 aspects. So with body or emotion or thoughts or energy, especially in periods when you want to practice, to get better with noticing your energy, for example. You could just be saying, how is my energy right now? A couple of times through the day. And then maybe also adding to it the question, what do I need right now? So just these 2 would already work wonders to check in more often. Now, with self-check-ins, it is not about perfection. It is not about doing 10 minutes of self-check-in every day, going through every step and making sure you really notice everything and so on. That will just block you from doing it often. Instead, the magic will happen for you in becoming more self-aware, in becoming more mindful, if you do it often instead if you do it perfectly and with a lot of time. So try to point a couple of points in your day. For example, when you wake up, even before you get up, or maybe while you're brushing your teeth, or maybe when you are entering into the workspace, being it live or virtual, maybe when you sit in your car, if you're commuting that day, or on your bike. Choose a couple of checkpoints in the day, or maybe when you enter your home in the evening. And in these checkpoints, ask yourself, how is my energy right now? And what do I need? And you could also run through the different aspects of energy, like this, physical, mental, sensory, and so on and so on. But you could also keep it simple, because the key is to start building that habit of asking that often. So maybe do it right now as well. Pause the video and check it. How is my energy right now? How am I doing? Self-check-in, in longer version especially, but in any version, is one of the most powerful ways of connecting with ourselves well. So I would highly recommend this as one of the best things you can do for yourself and your energy and your well-being. It's also something that we do a little bit on most of Happiness Academy courses, being it virtual or live. And it is something we'll be doing a lot on also our Learning Getaway in the September in Istria, on which we'll explore deeper and broader the concept of mindfulness and savoring, with aim to enjoy life more fully. And we'll do that in beautiful Istria in a week-long live event. So check out also in comments, maybe you also want to join us for that. If mindfulness is something that you want to dive in deeper, truly build some habits there and explore new tools. With tip number 3, let's now move to tip number 4. And the tip number 4 is about balancing between, let's say, micro recharge and macro recharge. What do I mean by that? I mean balancing between daily, weekly, monthly, and maybe even yearly cycle of recharging different aspects of our energy. Now, most of us will be better in one or the other. So I'll clarify this a bit, and then I'll also ask you, what are you better at? So micro recharge would be those different moments in the day when you take a little break. Like during your work day, are you in habit of taking a little break? And if you are, do you take it just physically, like you move away a little bit or you stretch a bit? Or do you also take it emotionally, mentally, sensory, and so on? Because for many of us, when we take a little break, maybe we end up talking to people. So we are not resting our social and sensory bits. Or maybe we straight jumped, to our phones, which again, no rest for sensory and for mental. So we do want to question, how are my micro recharge practices, the little moments of break that I do often throughout the day, am I doing them well? And which of the energy aspect am I doing them well for? And which of the energy aspect do I tend to drain? Now, one rule of thumb there is to take such a small break in the day, roughly at least every 90 minutes. So roughly at least every hour and a half, a little break from everything, if possible. And the other thing that you might want to consider is also to try to recognize better which of your energy aspects are you not so good with recharging throughout the day. And a great way of recognizing that is by noticing at the end of the day which of these are tired often. Which of these often at the end of the day are like, oh, I'm tired, but in this way. Is it sensory? Is it creative? Is it emotional? Is it mental? That's the one that you're obviously stretching more daily, and that's the one that you want to target to get better at recharging with small breaks. Now, on the macro level of big breaks is all about noticing when do we tire these parts out and can we give them some more proper space to recharge, such as evening, full evening, a weekend, or maybe, longer vacations sometimes throughout the year. So question for you now is to take a moment to think. Feel free to pause me wherever you're listening, and think a little bit. Am I better with this micro recharging practicing or macro recharging practicing? When we talk about micro, the daily ones, which aspect of my energy is often tired? And how can I recharge this one a little bit better with small breaks throughout the day. Do take a moment to think. Before pausing, I'll just quickly name them one more time so you remember all the aspects: physical, mental, sensory, creative, emotional, social, and spiritual. Take that moment of silence to think before we continue. And the fifth tip is not to take all of this too seriously. In other words, don't be a perfectionist. Don't be like, oh, I scored all my 7 aspects and they're not all 10 out of 10. I'm failing, I'm doing something wrong. No, that's not where we want to get. If you're living your life to the fullest, if you're active, of course you will also spend your energy and you will need to recharge sometimes. It is all about the cycle of investing energy in meaningful things, and then cycle of meaningful recharge so we can live our life fully and invest that energy somewhere else again. So don't be a perfectionist. Instead, look for a way to incorporate this concept of 7 types of rest and 7 types of energy in your everyday life, but to do so with sense of enjoyment, with really, exploring how can I recharge and rest better? How will that make me enjoy life more? How can I use those breaks to also do something fun and enjoyable for myself? No perfectionism. Yes, enjoyment, incorporating these, both the rest and result of resting well into living life to the fullest, living life more fully than right now. Now, if living life fully is a concept you want to explore, please do check our Learning Getaway, the 1-week-long learning immersive event about mindfulness and living life more fully in September 2023 in Istria. If that's already passed, check for other getaways. There will be some awesome other adventures as well. In Istria, we will be focusing on different aspects we talk about today. One of them will be how to recharge well, and the different aspects of energy. One will be mindfulness and listening to ourselves better and learning different tools related to mindfulness. And one will also be to enjoy while learning all these tools and enjoy life more fully and playing with all of it. So if that resonates, check it out. Now, these 7 aspects are a great, interesting topic to explore. And honestly, I could talk about each of them probably in a separate video. I will not do that. It's 7 of them. That would be the whole year of just that topic. But I would love to hear which of these would you like me to cover deeper and talk more about how to recharge in this specific aspect. So for you to be able to name which one it is, I'll repeat them one more time quickly, and I will ask you, let me know your thoughts. Which of these would you like me to cover better, deeper, talk more about, maybe do a separate episode on that one and give you some tangible tips to work with this one. You can share on LinkedIn with me. I'll link it again also in the description. You can share on Happiness Academy Instagram or in comments of this post, wherever it is that you found it. And I will also send a survey these days to Happiness Academy newsletter to also see there what are you wanting. So the aspects were physical, mental, sensory, creative, emotional, social, and spiritual. Do let me know which of them would you like to cover better. And do take a moment now to think about the 5 aspects of your energy and think about which of them would you like to get better with managing. And one more time, reminding you of 5 tips I shared today. First one was to compare them, different aspects, by scoring them. Second one was how to choose which one to work on first. Choose by lowest score or snowball effect, or by the one that is easiest and most fun to recharge first. Third one was building more mindfulness. Fourth one was to learn to balance better between doing that micro moments of recharge in the day and macro moments of recharge throughout your week, month, and a year. And finally, 5th one was to enjoy this more and not to take this as another to-do list and a homework, but instead to kind of play with the concept and explore it. Do take a moment before you stop this video to think which of the 7 types of rest you want to work on a little bit, And also, which of the 5 tips will you be implementing more? Thank you for exploring this topic with me. I hope you found some exciting ideas and tools that you will use already today. Remember, they only work if you put them in practice, but then they make all the difference. If you like Happiness Academy podcast, do leave us a rating and a review. It will be really helpful. And if you haven't done it yet, click on the links in the episode description to discover free materials and valuable resources to dive in deeper. See you in the next episode or at the Happiness Academy newsletter.